Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today we'll masech this Bava Daf Samech Aleph, but we are going to begin all the way at the very top of Samech Amud Beis by Tan Rabban, the third line from the top. I know that's really the middle. We only did one Amud yesterday due to a shortness of time, so we are going to be covering a little bit more today. Again on Samech Amud Beis. Tan Rabban. Dever be'ir, if let's say there is an element of dever, there's pestilence in the city, so kandes raglecha, you should gather your feet. Now you should run away and you should go inside. So it's possible you can get sick, so you stay away. Furthermore, come with me into your rooms. Close your doors from you. Another pasuk mechutz tishakel chenev michadarim ema. So a person should have, as Rashi says, emas mavesh shel malach v'loy begili kolkach. So, okay. So my v'omer. So the question is, why do we have all these psukim to tell us the same thing? So maybe it's just telling you at night. During the day, you don't have to stay inside. It says that you should go into your rooms and close your doors. So the fact that it says this perhaps is again telling you all the time. Maybe it's only if there isn't. Now this is the Rashi Ema. Emas mavesh shel malach. There's a fear of something from the outside, and therefore there's nothing to be feared of inside the house. If there's fear inside the house, kinapik, when you go out, yosef beni inchi b'tzavtab alma tfei mali. Maybe it's better to immerse yourself among other people. Why should you stay at home, which is just as dangerous? At least when you're other people, you won't be alone. Tashma michutz tishakel cherev michadarim ema. So again, this pasuk is adding that no, always better to stay inside. Afagav, even though the michadarim ema michutz tishakel cherev. Even though it's true that you may think it's better to be outside with others, but again, the malach hamaves has the sword, and therefore better to stay inside. Rava bi'idan rizcha havi sachar kaveh. So it says that when Rava, during the time in which there was dever, Rashi says, so sachar kaveh, sosim chiloinos, he used to close up all of his windows. D'chsiv ki olam mavis b'chaloinenu, that the malach hamaves comes through our windows. Tanubanan. Rav be'ir, if let's say there is a famine in the city, pazaraglecha. It's another time a person should go inside. Shnemar, as the pasuk says, Vahi Rav Ba'aretz, there was this famine. Veyered Avram Mitzrayim, and Avram went to Mitzrayim, Lagor Shom, to live there. So we see that because there was a famine, so he left. But Omer, and furthermore it says, Imomar nu Navo Ha'ir, V'harov Ir. Let's say there was this famine in the city, V'masnu Sham. So you should again go there. You should go in a hidden place. So again, my v'yomer, why now the pasuk? Subbing the fashois. Let's say there's no doubt. Says Rashi, b'makom should tigle sham. The place that you go there, there's no suffix nefashos. So v'hecha suffix nefashos low. Maybe the place where you're going to go, where it still may not be so safe, you shouldn't do that. Talmud Shomar l'chu, go v'nifla el machne aram. Go and fight the machne aram. Im yechayunu nichya. If you live, you'll live. So this is the end of the pasuk. Rashi says, v'yatolchu v'nifla el machne aram. Fine. So therefore, even though it's not guaranteed, but nonetheless, that's what you should do. Okay. Tanoban, Dever Be'ir. Let's look at question 14. Heichen hamakar min a Torah l'dinim l'halon l'olim yichanis on the Bechitov, Yetz Bechitov, and I would just say by Yosef, the brothers of Yosef. It says V'atem lo tetzu ish mepesach beiso ad boiker. Fine. Then how do you know Rab Ir Pazer Aglecha Vahi Rab Art Vierd of Ram Mitzrayim Gorsham? Okay, so that's not so simple, but okay, that's the answer that they're looking for. Tanubana Dever Be'ir Al Yahalach Adam Be'emsa Haderach. If there's a dever, don't stand in the middle of the road. B'mnei Shamal Chamavas Mahalach Be'emsa Hadrachim. He's in the middle of the road. The Kivan the Ahiva Le Rishusa Maskil Hedja. So once he's given Rishus to do damage, he's going to do so immediately, and therefore you'd better not be around. Shalom Be'ir Al Yahalach B'tzidi Drachim. If there's peace in the world, in that city, don't be on the sides of the road. The Kivan the Leisle Rishusa. Since the Malchamavas doesn't have Rishus, Machve Chavuye. It hides itself, Umaske, and it conceals itself on the sides. So therefore, in that time, it's better to be in the middle of the road. Tanaban, dever be'ir yichanis adam yochel beis hachneses. If there's a dever, this plague, person should not go to shul alone. Shemal chamavis mafkid sham kelav, because literally that is where the malchamavis is going to leave safeguardings of various items. Dardiki, that's this place where kids don't learn there. Vomatzel be'asara, and there's not 10 people. But if there's that group, so then that will protect you. Tanabanan. Kalavim boichin, dogs that are crying out, malchamavis bola'ir. That's a sign that the malchamavis is around. Kalavim sachakim, if let's say dogs are laughing, Eliyahu Hanavi Bola'ir. V'hanimili deleispa nikeva. That's in a situation where there's no nikevas around. Says Rashi, the Hasam Mishum Nikevahu Da'avdi. Maybe it's some type of a mating call that they're making these noises. But if there's no female around and a male dog is making these different sounds, then that is some type of an indication that again, either Malchamavis or Eliyahu was coming. Yosef, Rav Ami, Rav Asi, they were sitting, committed Rav Yitzchak Nafklamar, Leimamar, Shmaisa, go and tell me a sugya. Umar Omelei, and the other one said, Leimamar, Agadata. So one to hear a Shmaitza, and the other one wanted to hear an Agadata. So Pasach Leimamar Agadata, so one began to say an Agadic teaching. V'Shavik Mar, Pasach Leimamar Shmaisa. And he didn't let the other guy open up and say a sugya. So I'm going to tell you a parable. This is comparable. Adam sheishlo shtei nashim. Man has two wives. Achas yalda ve'achas akena. One is a younger wife, and one is older. Yalda, the younger wife, milaketes lo lavanis. She pulls out his white hair. Zakena, the older wife, milaketes lo shechayrais. She pulls out his black hairs. So what are you ripping out hairs? Because the young wife wants him to still have black hair. So she pulls out his gray hair. And the older woman wants her husband to look older. So she pulls out his dark hair. Nimsa kerech, mekan mekan. It turns out he ends up becoming bald. He loses his black hair and his gray hair, and now he has no hair. So let me say something in which is equal to both of you. Says Rashi, Agadata ushmaisasa but davar echad ushnechem shavim ba shisratsu. So let me say something in which is equal a sugya, a shmaisa, and an agadic teaching. He say to eish, the pasuk says to eish umatzakaitzim. Teitzim atzmo, if it goes up by itself, Shalom Yishalom Hamaver Sabeira. Shalom Kodesh Baruch Olai L'Shalem Esabeira Shehivarti. That it's upon me to pay the fire in which basically I caused. Anei Hitzisi Eish B'Tzion. I caused this fire in Sion, namely the base Hamikdash is referring to. Shenemar v'yatzas eish b'tzion v'toichel yisereseha, that consumed its foundation. Yani asid of naisab eish, therefore I will end up building it with fire. Shenemar v'ani Eyela chaymas eish saviv. L'kavidi ebesoicha. Shmaisisa pasach chazam b'niskei mamoin. Mamoin begins with talking about money. We see him b'niskei guf, and then the pasuk talks about guf. L'marlach isha mishum chitzahi. Chitza, which we saw a long time ago. There's a machlokas if fire is connected to like it's your arrows shooting out, or is it like your mamoin? So Rashi reminds us because again it starts off saying b'niskei mamoin shehizik mamoinoi dechsev kiseitze, it went out mashma ma'atzma from itself, and then it ends up with niskei gufa shekar maver biyadayim. It sounds like you did it. It wasn't that it happened on its own, but it's like you did it. So Rashi says it's kazar chetz. It's like when you shoot an arrow, shemazik l'mirachik, to damage from far away. The ihu gufi ovid, that you actually did it. So achanami ihu gufi ovid. The nafkamina l'chayva b'dal devarim im husik ba'adam kedamrinan b'perek beis. So we saw daf chav kimel. The nafkamina, if it's mishum chitza v'mishum amoino, is whether or not you're going to be chayiv the dal devarim if damage took place. Okay. All right. Just looking at Taisus over here. Okay. Weiter. The pasuk says, "V'yis Avid David b'yomar mi yashkeni mayim mibor beis lechem." Who will allow water to come for us to drink from the pit from beis lechem? Asher b'shar, which is in the gate. V'yivk'u shleishes hagivarim b'machne plishtim. So 3 people from the machne plishtim came. Yishabu mayim mibor beis lechem, and they drew water from beis lechem, from this pit, from this well. Asher b'shar v'gomer. So ma'kom miboyle. What exactly is David saying over here? What's he mentioning in this pasuk? So Amar Rav Nachman, what is he saying? Tamoin be'esh kimiboy. He's asking the din of when it comes to something which is hidden and it's destroyed through fire. The question is, are you chayiv, or is it only something which is out in the open? We saw this is actually macholkas, what the din is by Tamoin be'esh, says Rashi. Asher b'shar is actually the gate referring to the Sanhedrin, that he went to the Sanhedrin, the Ziknei Ashar, to ask this Shaila. Says Rashi, Masabol lefana b'machne shesarfo anashav gadish shel Yisrael, that someone burnt up a field. V'nitzrach li shoyel halacha, he didn't know what the din is. Im chayav l'shalom kelim hatamudim b'tocho k'Rabbi Yehuda o peturin k'Rabbanan. Obviously, Rabbi Yehuda wasn't alive yet, but the point is that this is something which he didn't know the answer to. So he was asking this. And they answered what they answered him. Okay. Rav Huna Oimer, actually what David was saying is Gedishim disoirim d'Yisrael havi. This field, this granary was barley, and it belonged to a Jewish person. The havi mitamri plishtim, and the plishtim were hiding inside. Could we burn down these piles, which is destroying our property, to be able to kill the plishtim? That's what he was actually asking. So you're not allowed to burn down these piles, which is destroying our a Jew's property, to kill the plishtim. You are a king in umelech paritz laslo derech ve'ein moichin b'yadai. The king can plow down and say, we want a highway on the street, but my house is in the middle. Doesn't matter. So they have the authorization and ability to do that. So he's basically saying, even though it's true normally the din is not, however, since you're a king, you're allowed to do it. Rabban v'tema rabba bar mari amru gedishim disarim d'Yisrael havi. Again, we're talking about that this barley field belonged to a Jew. Gedishim da'adashim deplishtim, and there was also a pile of barley. There was barley and there was lentils which belonged to the plishtim. The kamaboyhu mahu lito gedishim shel sarim d'Yisrael litin lifnei behemtoi what's the din of taking the Jewish people's barley to give it to an animal's almanas l'shalom gedishim shaladashim de. And even we have to feed our animals. We feed them barley, which is animal food, and we'll end up taking the Pelishtim's lentils, and we'll pay them back. So so he sent back to David, Chavoil Yoshiv Rasha Gazel Yishalem. What does that mean? Afal Pi Shegazela Mishalem Rashahu. So taking Israel's food and paying back with that of the Pelishtim is not something that should be done. Aval Atam Melech Atam, you're a king. Melech Paretz Lasli Soliderech Ve'en Moichin Biado. So you can do whatever you want, basically. So we can't stop you. Okay. Now Bishlam Amadi Armer La'achal that again is talking about taking Israel's food to pay back with that of the Pelishtim's lentils. Hainu Diksiv Chad Kra. That's why the pasuk says Fatihi Sham Chelkas Asada. Molea Adoshim. It mentions lentils in the pasuk. Obviously, there's lentils there. It must be belong to the Pelishtim, and the question is, can you take it and reimburse the Israel? Another kra. So how do we reconcile this pasuk in Shmuel Beis? One hand, the pasuk mentions that there was barley. The other one is the dashim. Obviously, it's because he's saying that could we take the Jews' barley, feed our animals, and then reimburse them with a dashim? Almadi armor lemikle my boilhu lahani trey kroy. How do we understand the pasuk? So again, we had two other interpretations. Whether it's tamoin be'esh, so what does that have to do with the steer in the pasuk? And also we said the second possible answer is as far as burning up this barley field, which has the Pelishtim hiding inside of it. So Amalach dahavi nami gedishim da adoshim the Yisrael dahavu mitamru bahu Pelishtim. The truth is, where they were hiding, they weren't just hiding underneath the barley; they're also hiding. The Pelishtim were underneath the adoshim. So it's not really a stira; it's just saying that it was the same. They were hiding under both situations. Now, Bishlam and Yomer lemikle that they burn it down. Hanu dechsiv yisyasi b'sech hachelka v'yatzileha. So why does it say v'yatzileha? So Rashi says it was saved shel yisrafuha, that it was not burned. Because again, you're not allowed to burn down your friend's fields. So it was saved. The field was saved. Nothing was being destroyed over here. The question is, can we just give it to our animals? It basically means it was saved, that it was not exchanged. So, because again, otherwise the animals would have eaten their barley. Okay, so Bishlam, Hani Tarti, these two, Hainodeksev Trey Kroy. That's why you have two psukim as we continue finally to the daf we're supposed to be up to, Samach Aleph and Aleph. El Miyan, Demer Talmud Be'esh, Kime Boyle. The whole question is, if someone burnt up something, it was hidden, so it's Yuchayev, so Mai Boyle Kroy. What exactly are these psukim doing? So Malach Talmoin, the first pasuk is to tell you the din of Talmoin, whether or not something hidden that's burned by fire, what the din is. And one from the other, it is asking. The pasuk says also in Shmuel Beis, "Lo Abba David lish taisam," that he did not drink it. Amar kivandi iki surah, because there's an isur attached to it. Lo nichli, I don't want to do it. Almandi Amar Talmud be'esh k'maboyle. The whole question is about whether or not you have to reimburse the person who had their item damaged, but it was hidden. So mechdi gamarahu deshalchole my lo Abba David lishtaisam. All he was asking him, what was the din? Do we hold it to Rabban Rabbi Yehuda? So what exactly does it mean that David didn't drink? Deloi Amar Nuhu Mishmaihu. That wasn't said in his name. So Amar Kach Mekublani Bebeis Dino Shel Shmuel Haramasi. I learned from Shmuel. Kol Meiser Atzmo Lamus Al Divrei Hatayra Ein Armim Davar Halacha Mishmai. So since pikuach nefesh is more important, they were wrong for being moiser nefesh to learn halacha. V'yaseh chaisel Hashem bishul mandir mahani tarti mishum de'avad l'shem shemayim. What's done l'shem shemayim? El mandir mertoman be'esh shemayim v'yaseh chaisel Hashem. What does that mean? It just means the amrinu mishma de Gemara, that there was, again, the outcome of what the din is all is being brought up here. Okay, TA 18. V'yisav David v'yomer mi ashkeni mayim elu gimel nidainim b'halacha isa b'gemara shenestapik b'hem David. What exactly was David asking the Sanhedrin about? So he said, of course, the three answers are either tamun be'esh. Second is lahatzal atzam moment chaveroi, because by burning it up and they'll end up killing the Pelishtim, or little gedishim shel Yisrael, to take the food of the Israel to feed the animals, amanaso shel madashim shel Pelishtim, by paying them back by the lentils of the Pelishtim. Okay, weiter. And let me just get my next test. Put it over here. Okay. Let's see. It looks like we did question 1 as well. Okay, so let's see. V'yivaku shloishes hagivorim. There was these 3 men. V'avadav l'shtaisam. He didn't drink from them. So my time so when do you drink from? What is exactly is the question? So he asked the lo ratzul amram b'shem hagiborim. He didn't want to say it in the name of these giborim. The kabbalah biyado the chol moiser atzmo ein oimrim davar halacha mishmoi. That if a person is moiser atzmo, gives himself over lamus to die over divrei Torah, in amrin davar halacha mishmoi, then no one's going to end up saying halacha in his name. Since we said, since mikoach nefesh is more important, they were wrong for being moiser nefesh to learn halacha. Okay, so they shouldn't have been moiser nefesh. And the second, l'madir melchatzim mavan chaveru iboile v'avol hatim mishum melch paritz geder kivan sheish iser lacherim. So even though there is this pirate's gev that a king can do what he wants, but nonetheless that should not be accepted if it's an Israelite Echerim. Let's see the next mission. Masnis Avra Gader Shu Gavo Daldamus. Let's say a fire passes by a fence which is 4 amos high, and derech harabim, it goes through derech harabim. Rashi says, which is yud vav amos, 16 amos wide, and we learn that out from the goles of the Digli Midbar as it's brought to Masechta Shabbos. O nahar, or if it goes by a river, then at that point when it damages pot, it says the Gemara, avasanya avri gadol shehu gavo arba amos chayiv. It says elsewhere the opposite. It says you're chayiv. So Papa tanedidan kachashiv milamal lamata. Our Tana is pointing out from up to down. Sheish amos potter, chamish amos potter, ad arba amos potter. Until 4 amos you are potter. Why? It says Rashi, disfirli ad biad b'chlal. Tana bara milmata lamal kachoshev. He's talking from bottom up. Shtei amos chayiv, sholosh amos chayiv, ad arba amos chayiv. And when he says that, he's saying ad v'lo ad b'chlal. But 4 amos itself, you would be potter. So from 4 amos, if it's a 4 amos wall, then you're going to be potter. Certainly 6, 5. So it's really not a machlokas at all. It's just the direction you go, and whether you say ad v'ad or ad v'lo ad b'chlal. Omer Rava, dalat al mish'amru. When we say you have this wall which is 4 amos high, the potter, it filled with steak kaitzim. Even if that wall is filled with thorns, then still you're going to be potter. It doesn't make any difference, and possible that the fire could easily continue to burn. So Omer Rav Papa u'misfas kaitzim ulumal daled amos, and from the edge thorns and above daled amos. Omer Rav, focus on the word Rav. Omer Rav lo shanu. The only time we say this din that you're potter by this wall that's 4 amos high, ela b'kol lachas. Only if the fire is going upwards. Avol benich pefes, if it's bending to the sides, the fire, I feel an meh amachayv, you're still going to be chayv. Says Rashi, sharuach mato isam v'kayfen l'tzdadim. Lishnach rina, says Rashi, nichvefes eish nemucha, small fire. Haleches v'nisreches batzavim, it goes into the grass. Hilkach afil over derech shazram racham oid chayev. Shmuel disagrees with Rav and says, Masnisin dinich pefes. Our Mishnah is actually talking about nich pefes, and in fact you are going to be potter. When it comes to a fire going upwards, a few koshehu potter, even the smallest wall, you are going to be potter. Time to go to the Rav. Why do we say your potter is bekolachas? Only if the fire is going upwards. If it's going bending to the sides, the eitzim mitzuyin, the one is firewood there, I feel ad mea mil chayiv, use the word mil. Avra nahar, if let's say there's a river that passes by, or shalulis, shehem rechavim ches, in these situations, Rashi says shalulis, we're going to explain what that is later on. Rechavim ches, almos potter. Even if it's 8 amos wide, you're still going to be potter. Derech harabim. So mantana. So Rabbi Lezer he just did not. Rabbi Lezer omer sheish esrei amos kederech rabim. That he holds that 16 amos wide is the measurement of a rishus harabim. Oh nahar. So Rav. Again, we have another Rav. Machlos Rav and Shmuel. Rav omer nahar mamish. We're talking about an actual river. Shmuel omer arisa didaloi. Rashi says, Yor katan shedon mimanu umashkin sadais. It's like an irrigation canal. So mandir nahar mamish afagav the lake Amaya. He says that if there's a river, even if there's no water in it, nonetheless, since it's so wide, it's like derech harabim. Mandir arisa de daloi. That's an irrigation channel. It's only east bay maya in. If there's water, avolesli maya lo. But if no water, no. Tanan hasam. So we learn over there in Masechtas Peah. The elu mafsikin lepeya. These things are a mafsik for peya, says Rashi. Haniach peya mikol echad ve'echad. That you would actually have to separate peya from each field separately because they're disconnected from one another. So what would separate the fields? One is hanachal, which Rashi says is sada mikan v'sada mikan. There's a field on one side and a field on the other. The nachal amoik be'emsin. You have this deep valley in the middle. Then you have to separate peya on both sides of the fields. Vashalulis, which again we haven't gotten to yet. We'll see what that is. Rashi now tells us miskabtzin. It's like a place where things are gathered. Kamo min hashol shel beitzim. V'derech hayochid v'derech harabim. So my shalulis. So Omer Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shmuel makoim shemei geshamim shoylin sham. It's a place where rainwater is gathered there. Rabbi Yom Rabbi Yochanan Amos Hamayim Shemichalekes Shalol Agapeha. It's a place in which it shares its spoils to the banks. So Mandir Makom Shemega Shamim Shailin Sham. That's considered to be a separate location, even a place where there's water that's gathered there. Koshkin Amos Hamayim. Certainly in Amos Hamayim, it would be separated. So Mandi Omer Amasamayim of a Makam Shemig Shalmim Shailin Sham Lo Mafsaki. The fact that there's some rainwater there that may not separate the two fields regarding the Mapeya. Why? The Mahanhu, these pockets of water as we continue to Samach Aleph Amid Beis, Ba'agne Da'ara Mikru. These are considered like the banks of the earth. And therefore it may not be considered to be a half-sek. Next Mas Nisan. We'll see just to the next Mishnah. Hamadlik b'seich shalom, a person who is lighting within his own field, his own area, ad kama taver hadleika. how far can the fire go? So Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah Amar Rayno, so Ki'iluhu be'emsa base core. We envision as though he's like in the middle of base core. Says Rashi, Im yeshlo chatzi base core, the whole ruach. If there's a half core on each side, is potter. Umikolachas shedilga. Okay. Rabbi Lezer Omer Tatzayin Amos Kederach Rishos Rabim. 16 Amos like Rishos Rabim. Rabbi Kiva Omer Chamishim Amma 50 Amos. Rabbi Shimon Omer Shom Yishalm Hamaver Sabeira Hakol Fi Hadaleka. It's all totally on the fire. And Rashi says Nahabamina Bein Rachlik Bein Karov, whether it's close or far. It says the Gemara, B'leisel Rav Shimon Shiura B'Daleka. It's Rav Shimon, the last sheet that says basically it doesn't matter. There's no shear when it comes to a flame. But non lo yamad adam tanur b'tarchabayis. A person shouldn't put an oven in his house. El im kein yesh al gabo, unless he has the height of to the roof. Goy v'dal amos. Hayamamidu ba'aliyah. If you put it on the top floor, ad shehei tachta ma'aziva shleishet tfachim. You should have a thickness underneath it, so it doesn't burn up the floor, 3 tefachim. Ubakira tevach. However, if it's a kira which has lime on it, which makes it that it doesn't get so hot, it only needs to be a tefach thick. The im hizik mishal masha hizik. If it causes damage, you have to pay for those damages. Rav Shimon Omer lo nemru shiurin halol el shim hizik patim l'shalom. It's only telling you that you're pater from paying. But the point is, Rav Shimon mentions that these are shiurim. So how could over here say that there is no distinction when it comes to this fire? So Rav Nachman over Rambam Ravu Hakol Afi Goiva Hadaleika. It depends on the size of the fire to determine how far it should be, how far away it should be distanced away. So it all depends on how big the fire is, of how far away it should be from doing damage. Rav Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rav Shmuel, Halacha Rav Shimon, V'chen Rav Nachman, Rav Shmuel, Halacha Kirab Shimon. Let's look at question 2. Avra ha'esh derech harabim. If a person passed fire through the road, what's the din? Mahushir derech harabim. So ha'isa be'esh ha'esh kolachas. So the fire is going up. Rav says your potter. If it's 16 amos, so Shmuel poite b'chol shehu. Ha'isa esh nechfefes, like it's going around. Rav says your chayv, and Shmuel says your potter b'tes zayin amo. Okay. So that was question 2. And question TA 19 we also did. Eish avra nahar or risa de daloi v'leis behumaya doesn't have water im chayiv. Okay, so that's it depends on what you say, right? So benahar potter, the river you're definitely gonna be potter because it separates. Arisa de daloi, however, when it comes to this arisa de daloi, there you will be chayv. Adkan.